You know what? I'm gonna go frack. I'm gonna say frack.
Wow.
Hey guys, I'm gonna say frack like Battlestar Galactica. Have you ever seen Battlestar Galactica, Paul? Oh my God!
I remember that in grade school. Battlestar Galactica.
They made a remake, and it questions religion. It's amazing. It's very well done.
We used to spoof it and say cattle car gas Mactica.
All right, so I guess we're live now.
Hey, we're live.
Were you able to connect to the interweb or whatever?
No, I see nothing.
So anyway, we're live. So if you guys are out there seeing us, thank you for logging in or whatever this is, whatever was.
Thanks for logging in because you're better than I am because I can't log into it.
I just logged onto my internet. So we gotta okay. So anyway, Paul, go ahead.
Is it under videos or events or what? Or it should be right on the page, right?
All right, let's see. He's doing this. While he does that, I'm going to intro. This is Paul Bolger, the man, the myth, the legend. This guy, I've known this guy I booked you back at Walter Payne's Around Us. Ooh, we should talk about that. We should go back then.
I love
but not right now.
there.
Right now, we'll take the Wayback Machine a little bit. So Paul and his awesome band, Mr. Bellotto, has played on this stage and at Evenflow. By the way, it's Evenflow, everyone. Evenflow in Geneva. Hello, everyone.
Here we are.
You got it? Are you on? Yep. Are you linked?
So let me hit that.
Please don't share your web history.
Oh, there we are.
Don't share your web history with my fans. Am I there?
It's behind. Okay.
Am I delayed? Is it a delay?
Tracy's watching me. Hi, baby.
Hi, Tracy. Who's Tracy?
My girlfriend.
Your girlfriend? Has she been here?
Best girl in the whole world.
Has she been here?
Yeah.
She been here? Very cool.
Okay, so now I want to do.
All right, put your damn phone down and talk to me like a human.
Come on, I got to share it to my page.
Disconnect from the interweb.
How do I share to?
All right, how does he share? Share, baby.
I just press share. Is that going to go right to my page?
No, you're going to listen to some share music.
Do you believe
No, we don't start with share music.
I know, but I want to make sure that my
two viewers
can see.
So now, but once again, we're like this is our first time, so we're gonna definitely mess this up. Ooh, I saved that. I got it saved. So, hey, Maddie. I want to tell everybody eventually who's listening on Facebook Live, we are going to edit this and make sure that his guitar sounds awesome, and we are going to make a YouTube channel. We're going to make a YouTube channel for Evenflow, but Maddie, my engineer, and Andrew over there on the whatever he does,
whatever he's doing over there,
whatever the hell that guy does over there. So they're the guys in the back, but we're all 6 feet apart from each other. We measured it. It's all good. So but here's the deal. Paul Bolger is in a band called Mr. Bellotto. For those that not know, most of the people that are going to log on this are going to know that. And I want to tell you first. I'm going to open up, and then we'll talk. My favorite thing about when you guys play. So you guys, what do you think? About a dozen times here, probably. Where are you at? More than that, maybe.
I would say a dozen to 15 or 20. Yeah.
20, yeah. So, and they're awesome. So, but anyway, his brother gets here a little bit early, right? And
Chief.
Oh, what's that?
Chief.
Chief. Okay, his brother comes in. Now, his brother is an amazing musician, just like Paul is, and they're great together. And how long you guys been playing together?
Chief and I?
Yeah.
I mean,
forever?
It's 1975.
When did Bellotto start?
Bellotto started in 90, 91.
90, and you and your brother have been playing since 75.
Yeah,
anyway, we'll go back to that history because I just want to tell you my favorite story. So every time you guys play, my favorite part of you guys playing is your brother gets here early and he grabs dinner, because he loves the food here.
Yeah.
And he goes upstairs to the office, and I swear to God, every conversation I have with him is just amazing.
He's known as a raconteur and someone who can talk anyone's ears off, but no one walks away because he's very, very bright and he's very, very well read.
Super smart.
And so he can go on. He has an opinion that he's thought about already on a lot of subjects.
Right.
It's not like some people you talk to and they're like, you can tell they're just mulling it over for the first time, and then they blurt out what they think. And he's actually thought through a lot of things. He's very interesting.
Well, what's crazy? Thank you, because that's exactly what he does to me. Like when I'm up there talking to him, because I talk fast, my ADD's out of control.
You do talk fast.
I do, and your brother does too. By the way.
Your brother does. He does. Yeah, you're right.
But the scary thing about him is I'm usually I'm trying to be a step above somebody, trying to think ahead of them. Yeah. Your brother's 2 in front of me.
Yeah, he's 2 ahead of all.
He's
of us.
way ahead of all.
He's
of
like,
us.
yeah.
And shout out
he
if
was
you're
a lawyer.
There.
I mean, he was putting people in jail. You have to think strategically, and he weighs his words wisely. And sometimes it takes a second for him. When you're getting to the thick of it, you'll hear him slow down a little bit. That's when you should be afraid, because then he's weighing his words and he's playing chess instead of checkers. And you're like, oh shoot, man! If he takes a minute to think about this, he's going to come up with a watertight argument that leaves you in the corner, just doing rope-a-dope. Like, getting slugged.
So he was a lawyer for real?
Yeah, he still is.
So he still is? So has Bellotto always been a side project for him?
No. He got out of law school. He passed the bar, I think, in 89 or 90, and he and I took off for 5 weeks and backpacked through Europe. Through Europe. The brothers Bolger on the road.
And just bring your guitars and just went?
We didn't bring guitars. We brought backpacks and flew over. Went to Ireland, met our Irish cousins for the first time. Went through England, France, Spain, Italy, Germany, Austria, Amsterdam. Hopped off and traveled on our own for another 2 weeks.
Jealous.
And on that, it was fantastic. Dude, we were writing songs and lyrics and stuff like that. And so he comes back and he becomes a prosecutor for the state's attorney. He's assistant state's attorney at that time. And he's putting gang guys in jail at 23rd in California, whatever that.
Wait,
wherever that
he goes into that courtroom with that long, beautiful hair.
He did, but it wasn't long there. Okay. It was long then. It was like if you played it straight down to here, it would go like this. And you got the angle? Okay, right there. So we like this at the gig. And then kind of collar length, right? Think Harry Hamlin, L.A. Law at the time. And then he would go in and he'd slick it straight back like Harry Hamlin. And he'd go in there with his suit on. But he could only do that for like 2 or 3 years where he was like burning the candle at both ends.
Right.
And he would play with us till 4 a.m. And he'd go to home. And the good thing he didn't need any sleep, but he actually did eat some. And he'd get up at 6:30 and then go in court all day and then come out and play. It was like very few people could pull that off, but he did. So anyway, in the end, he had to choose between one or the other. And he said law was his second favorite gig he ever did, and the band was the first. So,
really?
So he quit and did the band full time. And my mom was chagrined, to say the least. She's like, "You're quitting your law career to join your brother's band?
Your brother's?
What's the matter with you?
Cut your damn hair, son."
He grew it long and never looked back.
Yeah, that's fucking cool. That's awesome. Sorry, but dude, that's very cool. That I just all I'm saying is I very much enjoy you guys coming and playing here. I enjoy both you guys, and I'm so glad. Thank you for coming.
Oh man, our pleasure. We always love playing out here.
All right, so
it's true that like any band, I think is a complex gumbo of different personalities, and it's funny to hear that he comes here early because I didn't really realize that he comes here, eats upstairs, and
and we talk about.
You guys each try to get a word in edgewise, and I don't know which one of you I feel sorrier for. Because that's a world heavyweight match.
I'm not kidding you. I think we understood the string theory together. Like that's where we went. We went that direction. We went crazy. But no, I just thank you guys for coming out. Another great band. Just so you guys know, another great band out there is PBJ. Paul plays in PBJ. They play here every Thursday. What is it now? Second Thursday, right?
Every second Thursday, and occasionally fourth or fifth Thursdays. But we have to figure that part out. But once a month,
right?
PBJ, we love playing here.
So now I'll give you one more of my stories, and I want to say thank you again. So I used to go to, what's the Irish bar in Naperville?
Quigley's.
Where you guys play?
Yeah.
Okay, forever, right?
Forever.
Still?
Yeah.
Okay, great. You guys do another Thursday,
first
right?
First Thursday of the month there.
So when I was building this place back in 10 and 11 and shit like that, I would go and hang out and watch you guys there. So to have you guys play here is just awesome, and I really, really appreciate it.
That's cool,
awesome.
man. Yeah.
And talk about your album. You guys got PBJ album. So I want to hear about
PBJ recorded an album a year ago, and we decided to sell tickets to people who are our fans to come into the studio with us while we recorded it, and we did it right out here somewhere. And everyone came out, and everyone had headphones, and we had rehearsed enough, and we'd written this 5 or 6 songs. And we knocked out the album with like 1 or 2 takes on each song. And people kind of know how a studio works, but it's really a mystery to most people, the intricacies of it, like, getting everything mic'd and baffled and taking a take and then stopping and starting over and talking about the arrangement and what went wrong, and then, okay, let's fix it, let's try it again. That's great inside stuff that we're all used to, and it's like, it's being in a laboratory for us, but for them, it's like, not that they're like starstruck, because they know we're just guys in the band that they like, and we all talk to them after the shows and stuff like that, but it's that they're inside a microcosm that no one really gets sometimes you see behind the scenes a video or a documentary about it, but to be in the studio when the band's playing, and playing all new songs that you've never heard, very cool. So cool. We had 40 or 50 people come in and do it, and we did it, and then we mixed it, and it took us a year. Sorry, everyone who paid up front. But we were like, okay, finally got the physical CDs and the booklets, and we put a T-shirt into the deal, too. and we're ready to do it. We're going to come out. We're going to announce it and play at the next Evenflow. We're going to have a thing. And COVID hits, and we're like,
we were gonna book. I know I was gonna book them. We would have killed the house. These guys fill it. I'll
right.
tell you. So shout out to my bartenders, Liz and either Dylan or Bobby. They are always here, and they're always hanging out with Thursday with you guys, and they love you. They're really
great.
love you.
They're great.
They really love you guys, and PBJ is a great band.
And one of them sings with us. Which one? Is that?
Annabelle.
She's great.
Oh, Annabelle's fantastic.
She gets up and sings a couple songs. I'm like,
Annabelle's for real.
Damn,
Annabelle, hashtag shout out Annabelle. Love you. So, yeah. So let's go through this real quick. So the people that don't know who PBJ is, because you have a huge following, and I know pretty much everybody that's watching you, but there's probably some Evenflow people that don't know exactly who PBJ is. Yeah. Let's just talk about this real quick. So you got Johnny V, right?
Johnny V on acoustic guitar and singing, and strong songwriter.
Strong songwriter. He's kind of an Indiana, like kind of a legend, right?
Yeah, he's an Indiana journeyman.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we get to my guy, Mr. Bobby
Scamacci.
Scamacci, dude. The
Genius.
Scamacci.
Crazy, wacky, sonic anomaly of the human race. I can't believe the guy plays the way he plays.
I agree. He's the only keyboard player that I've seen on the stage where his fingers disappear when he plays. They just disappear. Like he just. And the craziest thing was, now you gotta understand, Paul. Here's the deal. Me and you, we have a lot of similarities because we love the same music. But you are an artist. You understand that shit, and I do not. I'm a novice. I'm a complete novice. I'm a bar owner. That's what I am, pretty much. I'm a drug dealer, but they don't arrest me because.
But
I have
the
a license.
lowest form, below drug dealer.
I'm
is
a low
bar
drug
owner.
dealer. I just pay
bar
taxes.
owners are even worse.
Yeah. So, but what one thing that was taught to me once, where you guys didn't have a bass player once. I'll never forget this. He didn't have a bass player, and Bobby just played the bass the whole time.
Yeah, with his left hand.
And I didn't understand that. I couldn't figure it out. So the whole time, there's no bass player, but the bass is beautiful. The songs are, you guys are playing Beatles, and you know how tough Paul bass is. Paul's bass is crazy hard.
But here's the thing. It's like piano players, are different from each other, and some piano players have a fantastically developed left hand, as you say, like the bass stuff.
Okay.
And some piano players are 90% their right hand. It just depends on who the player is. And it doesn't mean, I know some cats that are jaw-droppingly awesome that don't have a great left hand. Right. Or their left hand would not be able to carry the bass of an entire night. They don't think that way. They're not put together that way. Scamacci, just perchance, has a split brain where his left hand can be and that part of the brain's doing that, and the other's going off rhythm, like, and this hand's just automatic.
And singing.
Harmony parts, yeah.
And singing.
Yeah, there's guys like in the jazz realm that do that, like Pete Benson, who plays at the Green Mill on Sundays. Sabretooth was their band forever. Now they're called something else, but he plays the Hammond organ, and his feet are playing the pedals.
Now, Hammond organ is like the best organ ever made.
Hammond's great, and you got two keyboards of your two manuals.
Okay.
So his right hand's going, and the left hand's going, and the feet are going, so he's got like all four limbs. The right foot is doing his volume swell with like a gas pedal on the organ. Mm-hmm. His left one's playing these big pedals with the organ. His left hand is comping chords somewhere in the middle, and his right hand's playing the lead. And it's just like, you think it's hard to go like this sometimes. Like, try doing that and two things with your legs at the same time, and be musically interesting and artistic during that.
Right.
Some people just have, and Scamacci's one of those guys.
He is. Oh, God, I love him. Scamacci's been a gigantic inspiration when I built this place. And I'll tell you this right now. His dad, Papa Scamacci, still is in my brain. Never met him, but he tells me, because his dad owned like 4 or 5 clubs.
Yeah.
He owned like a bar owner like me.
He grew up doing that.
Right.
Being in there.
A legalized drug dealer. Anyway, he told me, I'll never forget this, Bobby, Mike, no matter how tough it gets, you got to sustain. And that word is all, like, we're out. We got to sustain as artists and musicians and club owners or bartenders. We got to figure out a way to sustain. Keep alive.
Stay afloat. Somehow through this whole thing. We don't know. I mean, we all don't know if July is going to feel a little bit normal or if July is going to be just 10% better than right now. We don't know how it's going to play out.
We don't know. And
we don't know if enough people will get it, so we have that sort of herd thing they talk about, so that come the fall, it won't be this huge bubble back again, because most of us will have had it, we'll have antibodies. We don't know.
We don't.
So it's so weird to not know.
It's tough. Both me and you, and on opposite side of the spectrum. So you need people in the crowd, like next to each other, cheering, bumping up, getting the energy going, and I need that too for my bar, right?
Yeah.
And it's just it's a tough situation. We're just in that situation.
I think things are gonna change. I just sound like Christopher Walken there. Things are going to change.
It's like change.
I think. Wow. I think people are going to stream like we're streaming right now, and we're all like everyone who's over 25 who didn't know how to stream anything before this is now catching up with the technology.
Right.
I think what's going to happen is, at least for us, we're for sure doing this. We're going to stream every show from here on out because that's the tech-savvy thing to do.
Correct.
And you realize that if you're a band that's been around for 10 years or 20 years or whatever, you have fans literally on every continent.
Correct.
There's people in England that like us. There's a guy in Germany who, when we went over and played in Ireland, made the trip to Ireland to see us because that, to him, is like going to Colorado.
Nice.
Right?
Nice.
And so if we stream our stuff, he's probably sitting in his castle or whatever they live in over there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And people in Arizona, people in Florida, like all over. The smart thing to do now is to stream every show because it's not like the Blackhawks when they said, well, we're going to not show them on TV to make people go to the stadium.
Oh, that's a dumb move.
That's a dumb
move. Let them know. Let everybody get the knowledge. Let everybody
get out there. Let people. Some people cannot make it, but they'll go and they'll donate $5 or $10 because they're really happy to be in their living room rocking out to your band, and they couldn't do it before. And I think that's going to be a remnant of this. If the COVID thing goes all the way away, whenever it does, which it will.
Yeah, it will. I agree.
Once it goes all the way away, that thing will remain, and I think that's going to be great for music and art across the board.
I agree.
That'll be the silver. That'll be one of the silver linings.
There's, I've heard some really smart person say after the Spanish flu we had the Roaring 20s, and now we got the Roaring 20s again. It's just going to be the 2020s. You know, we hope. So we hope.
Flapper dresses.
All right, so one more shout out. One more shout out because we got to finish the PBJ. There is somebody else in the PBJ that actually is not PB or J.
Well,
okay.
He's the second J. So you really think PBJ squared. Actually, on the album, you'll see we have PBJ, and there's a little exponent up there. Jeff Kissel. Paul, Bobby, Johnny, V, and Jeff Kissel.
Yeah.
And Jeff Kissel's the drummer, and what an unbelievable groove that guy lays down.
Dude.
It's like a back rub. Sometimes I'll be playing right over here, and I'll look back, and I'll just be feeling. I'll look back at him, he'll look at me like, yeah, that's that thing. We're just going lock in like that, and it's a pleasure to play with him.
Dude,
sure.
He's a great human, too. Just a good guy.
Yeah.
And also, he probably, besides maybe Nate Green. Do you remember Nate Green? Do you know Nate Green?
I don't.
He does my live band karaoke. He's friends with a bunch of people. He knows Jeff Kissel very well. Anyway, besides Nate Green, I think Jeff Kissel, he plays in Planet Groove. He plays with you guys.
He plays in a lot of bands, yeah.
He plays in a lot of bands.
And he has like 50 students normally.
Really?
40, 50. He has a ton of students.
So he's just a grinder.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
He's the millionaire next door, guarantee. He looks like the rest of us, but I guarantee, like, he's going to retire early, like, in, Bora Bora. We're like, how'd you pull that off? He goes, dude, I had 50 students for 30 years. What do you think I'm going to do,
Well, shout out to Jeff because he's the one that finally made my my bass drum finally sounding good. He tuned it. He tuned it. He put a little pad in there and stuff because we've been fighting. This room is tough because the problem with this room is by putting the stage in the corner, I make an amplifier. Like I make a
horn. You make a
horn.
Yeah.
So it just and I need to put carpet all over the walls like a 70s bar.
You do, but you've done it, and this room always sounds good.
Thank you.
It always sounds big.
Thank you.
This is the small room with a big room sound like Rosemont Horizon big.
Yeah.
You can make that. You can put verb on and this and that, but the ceiling is the key. If you have a short ceiling like at Quigley's where we play,
right,
it can't sound big. You can put reverb on this and that. It's hitting the ceiling, coming down, hitting the floor, clanking. Here, the sound wave actually has room to expand and be big and slap off the walls a little bit. You got mirrors there, so you got some reflective stuff, and then you got dead space too, which is perfect combo. The room sounds great. Blotto always sounds great here. PBJ always sounds great here. And that inspires from the stage point. You're just like, when it feels big, then you think big. You fill that space.
Oh, my God. And I love when you guys another thing that fills the space, too, is I love your fans. But here's the deal. When your fans come, I order extra beer. Because they like they like their beer. They like their beer. So I really enjoy that. And we got you guys
deny themselves very little. Put it that way.
So, I don't even know when the hell I got you guys scheduled next. I know I got you on the calendar someplace. I think I had you in the calendar in April. I swear to God, I think I did. Or didn't I?
Mike, I don't know. That calendar I had on my wall, I got 4 months of the time on dry erase, and it just went X, 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 X. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I know.
Brutal.
All right, but you know what though? Like I said, we're gonna figure it out, and we're gonna jam. We're gonna jam. We're gonna have fun. So, all right. So here's the deal. We're gonna push this envelope real quick. So I'm gonna give you a little challenge. Okay. All right. Here's the challenge. Okay, for those people that don't know out there, Paul here is an amazing, crazy-ass musician because he knows, in your brain, you know like 2,000 songs, like lyric-wise. and he can literally rap. He literally can rap, like badass. It's pretty cool. But anyway, so you're on a treasure island. You're on a stranded island. Maybe a treasure island. Maybe there's treasure there. Rum. And you have to take 2 songs with you. What songs are you taking on that guitar with you?
Mean that I'm able to play?
Yeah.
And the rest of them I forget?
Well, that's it.
Like
that's all you
wiped
got.
out of my brain?
That's it. Yep. You lose it. You got to learn it all over again. Who are you taking?
Wow. 2 songs?
2 songs. Who are you taking with you?
Well, first of all, one of them is going to be one that I don't know. So I'll have something to do on that island. Figure that damn thing out. So
in other words, Beethoven.
Let's take Vivaldi's 4 Seasons, the entire thing. That's one song.
There you go.
That'll take me like 30 years to figure it out.
Right. Learn Beethoven, right?
Let's see. That is tough because as a songwriter, do you pick one of the ones that you wrote that you like to play?
Or one that you were influenced by that changed your entire life when you were young?
Wow.
Right?
You
gotta
really
get it out. Play a song. Just rip it. Don't even think about it. Just rip. Just don't even think. Just rip me a song right now.
Like you have one song?
Just throw it. Just throw it right now. Give me a tune.
Shoot. You're tough, man.
Hey, it's a tough situation. We're all in a tough situation.
I'll play a PBJ song.
I love it.
All right. Here's one that's on the album, kids. It's called Border Town. I think it's self-explanatory. I'm not sure. Let's see. I can see your body sway at the end of a working day. I can hear you asking me to dance once more, baby, while we have the chance. I can hear the distant sounds of sirens and proverbial hounds, but I just couldn't settle down with you in your border town. All these years now we've been apart. You never ever left my heart. I keep running from what's chasing me. I hear about you periodically. Now you have another life, someone's mother, lover, other wife. But I just couldn't settle down with you in your border town. It's a Gypsy King's part. And now that we are old and gray, life is passing like a summer day. On our faces like the maps of miles are the lines from 1,000 smiles. And we might still get the chance if life will grant us one last dance. Makes me wish that I had settled down with you in your border town.
Dude, well, it was worth a year, right? It was worth a year to make, right?
That's a year.
That's a year. That's awesome. So now I'm gonna totally trick you here. We gotta make sure you guys do that opener here, right? At Evenflow. One of your openers.
For sure.
One of your openers.
You mean to release the
Release
CD?
CDs? Yeah, release CDs. Yeah,
It'll
whatever.
be here.
Yeah, that's awesome. That was awesome. Thank you so
you.
much, dude. This has been awesome. I'm so pleased. And real quick, just if I can just thank every single artist that ever come up on my stage and played. I want to thank you all, and we're gonna do it again, right? This is gonna happen. We're gonna open the doors. We're gonna get this thing going.
We'll get there.
So we got to sustain. We got to sustain. So we did. It was funny. We talked about something interesting before we talked about this. So. Because now it's still in my head. No matter what, it's in my head. Mel Gibson, okay?
Yeah.
Mel Gibson.
Mel Brooks.
Mel Brooks. I'm sorry, Mel Brooks. Talked about how genius he was,
Oh,
right?
man.
And the producer.
Through his whole career, he just kept coming up with groundbreaking angles to be funny.
And also he always put music in his stuff.
Yeah.
That's what was amazing about him. Like he always put music in every one of his shows. Always.
Yeah. Except for Silent Movie, his very first one, which we were talking about. Ironically, the whole movie, if you check it out, it's worth looking at from a if you're a student of cinematography or movies at large, because it was a movie in color about a guy back in the day making a silent movie. And there was no words spoken in the entire thing except one word. They're trying to get Marcel Marceau, the famed French mime, to be in their movie. And he was going, and they're like, and it's like, what? And finally, Marcel Marceau, the man famous for not saying anything in the movie, goes, no.
Dude, he
great. It's great irony.
Great.
Yeah. Genius.
Oh man, they just way ahead of their time. And you were singing. Give me the producers. Yeah, give me the producers.
Springtime for Hitler and Germany.
It's so good.
Winter for England and France. I don't really know how it goes.
And he was surrounded by someone, like, obviously we talk about Gene Wilder, how amazing he was. What's the name of the blonde girl that sang and everything? What was her name?
Terry Garr.
Terry Garr, yeah.
She was so hot in Young Frankenstein.
God, Young Frankenstein.
Are you kidding me?
Nice knockers.
Thank you.
Oh, my God. What a
She
great.
was so great.
Oh, my God.
She was great in Mr. Mom. That was a great Michael Keaton in her.
Oh, my God.
Remember?
Yeah, she was in
was
that
a great
too.
movie. Yeah, she
Well,
was the
how about-
mom.
Dude, how about Michael Keaton? How about how
I know.
ridiculous his
Okay,
career is?
Let's talk about Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
Okay, he was a stand-up comic first.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Because he was interviewed on what's his name? Who's that? Who's the guy on SNL? He used to talk like this.
Oh,
he talked like that.
come on, yeah.
Norm. Norm
McDonald.
Norm Macdonald.
Yeah.
So there's a show called Norm's Got a Show.
Okay.
Have you seen it?
No.
It's
Is it
fantastic.
great?
There's one season, and he's just like this, but
Okay.
he's doing it with people like whoever, you know.
Right.
So Michael Keaton was one of his guests, and he talked about starting out in comedy, and he said one of his first. He goes, "Do you remember any of your first jokes? You remember your first jokes?" And Michael Keaton's like, "Yeah, I remember one." He said one of his jokes was he was on an airplane landing at LaGuardia, and the pilot said, "And the temperature outside is 2 degrees." And he thought to himself, 2 degrees? Why have any? But anyway, Michael Keaton started. He was a stand-up comic.
Was he really?
Yeah, and he's in these goofy movies. You know, really, no one ever. You know,
Right.
I don't know if he got any albums or anything like that. But he was knocking around that scene, and then he ends up in some funny, like the one with the Fonz, Night.
Oh my
Night
God,
Shift.
Night Shift.
Fantastic.
Oh,
That's a fantastic movie.
Insane movie. If nobody's ever seen Night Shift,
Get
it's
it
with
now,
Fonzie.
tonight.
It's with Fonzie, and
Arthur
they're
Fonzie.
literally they're two guys in charge of a place that were
A
corpse
morgue.
store.
Was it a morgue?
right?
Yeah.
Morgue, right?
Yeah,
And
they have
get,
to like be the night guard, the night shift,
right,
of a morgue.
and they get involved in some sort of crime or something, right? Right? They get
There's a what's her name from Cheers? This is a great conversation, by the way.
I know this is hilarious.
What's her name from Cheers? The blonde.
Oh God,
Sam and Diane. What was her name? But anyway, she's the love interest, and she's a hooker, right?
That's
and then,
right. She's
and
a
then,
hooker. That's right.
Henry Winkler
she's
is like this mild-mannered guy. And then
she's
anyway,
she's
Michael
the hooker
Keaton,
you love.
Back to Michael Keaton.
Right.
The movie he did recently about the movie star who's trying to make it as a
Birdman.
Birdman.
Oh my God.
Genius. Some people hate that movie. Like, how do you hate this movie? It's perfect.
The fact that he played Batman 20 years earlier,
Right. Oh,
to be that introspectional on that, like to
Yeah.
see it that way,
And then he got nominated for an Oscar.
Right.
And I remember seeing him in the crowd. I'm like, dude, I'm watching the Oscars. I'm like, this is your night, bro, because that is an undeniable performance. And, Oscars kind of skew toward when there's a guy or a girl who's been knocking around forever and been doing solid work, and then they finally get one that's a contender.
Right.
The tie usually goes to them.
Right.
I see it over and over and over. It was his turn because that was a worthy thing, and he lost to somebody really vapid and empty.
I don't know who he lost to. Hey, Andrew
I
or
was
Maddie,
so pissed.
look that up. Look that up. Who did Michael Keaton lose his Oscar to?
Yeah, who won that year? It'll be about 5 years ago. Well, maybe longer.
Yeah, I don't know, but that Birdman was really, really well done. And there was speaking of jazz, you were talking about jazz earlier.
Yeah, the drummer. Yeah, the drummer.
Yeah, but how amazing was so the cool thing was that the whole entire movie was, where they had a camera like the guy in the chest, and you follow him around.
Yeah.
But then he'd walk by a piano player and he'd just be playing jazz, and he'd walk by a drummer and he just did.
Well, the drummer would appear in a scene where they're just walking through the aisle in the back of their theater,
right,
from one dressing room to the other, and there'd be a little commissary area just enough to put a drum kit, and the drummer would be playing the sound. He'd be playing before you saw him.
Right.
You'd hear the soundtrack, you'd just be, and you just think it's a cool solo drum thing to be in the back of the scene, and then they walk past him, you realize, oh, that guy's actually playing
doing
this.
It, right?
And the actors don't see him; they're ignoring him.
Right.
Like that he doesn't really exist to them.
Right.
So much stuff like that. The director was a Japanese or something.
Genius. Period.
I think it was a Japanese guy. Right?
I think you know why so many people, because we love, especially, I'm speaking for all Americans because I'm American, but we love a happy ending. We love a thing. The ending of that was.
What do you think of that ending?
I don't know. It's one of those just. I truly don't know what happened.
Okay. Earmuffs for anyone who watched the movie.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Turn it down. We're going to talk about the ending for about 30 seconds. In the end, he jumps out the window. He jumps out the window clearly to his death because no matter how much you want to suspend disbelief and say the drummer wasn't seen or that big superhero guy that's yelling in his ear isn't really, it's in his head, that's his craziness. He jumps out. Gravity has his effect. He dies. The actress, who's his daughter, looks down and she's horrified. And then she looks up at the birds, and we're led to believe that maybe he's flying around with the birds.
Right.
But she's actually just going, this poor, tortured soul is now at rest. I think that's what the ending was. I didn't like it when I first saw it. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Are you telling me he's flying? Like, I'm not going to buy that.
Yeah, I'm not going to buy that.
But then I thought, I've watched the movie 5 times, and now I see it as, because she first looks down and she's horrified, and that's her seeing the body at splat. And then she looks up at the birds and realizes that he's free, and she's smiling, which is certainly a fast forward for how the grieving process happens. You wouldn't do it; you wouldn't get there in 3 seconds.
Right.
But the movie took a lot of liberties, and that was just another one at the end, and it was great.
I agree with that. I do. Oh man, that was such a tough. It gave me the chills. It was so good. You know what else gave me the chills? And this is another thing. Come on, the guy from Fight Club. Give me the guy from Fight Club, the actor in that movie. The guy
Brad Pitt?
No, the other guy.
Meatloaf?
No, the other guy. He played the jerk in the play.
Steve Martin was the jerk.
No, that's another great damn movie. Oh my God.
Who was that?
Come
Fight
on.
Club was
hey,
Brad Pitt.
Ed Norton.
Oh, Ed Norton.
Remember Ed Norton in that? Remember how good Ed Norton was in that movie?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there's been some great movies, and there's been some great movies that are argued about as some people detest them. They're like the great ones. A lot of times are not at all universally lauded as great.
Right.
There's haters for even what you think is undeniable, like the Birdman one.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that anyone that likes movies, like enough to go to the theater and see movies, because I go all the time, or I used to before they were all closed. It's shocking to me that not everyone loves that movie.
No,
even though I very well know that art is subjective, and as my art is, it's subjective. Not everyone likes what you do.
That's a hate.
That's back to life.
People hate that. It's either you like that movie or you hate that movie.
So what do you think of the end of The Sopranos? Remember, it just goes black. He's sitting in the restaurant getting fish with his family.
In my mind, he got shot. In my mind, he died.
Clearly,
he died.
Clearly. And so when that came out, I hated it. I was shaking the TV. Like, did my cable just go out? Like, this is because remember, you watch it every Sunday. You didn't get to binge that. It was happening in real time.
Right.
You had to wait a week, and then here's the final one. You got your popcorn, you got your beer. You're like, and they're in there, and it's like getting towards the end. Like, is he gonna get whacked or not? And then it just goes black. I'm like, we don't get to see him whacked and blood splurt on his family. Like, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Or to get away, and it just goes black. And I called Mark Haig, our guitar player in Blotto, because he's a big film guy. I think his major was in cinematography.
Right.
I'm like, dude, what a ripoff, right? He's like, I think it's pretty genius. I'm like, what? How can that be? He's like, dude, think about it. He's sitting there with his family. He thinks he's past the whole feud and all that stuff, and it's not going to be like, and now the end is near. You get to say goodbye to all your loved ones. They're like, no, it goes black.
Right.
Done. Back of the head, you're done. I'm like, it took me a while to appreciate that ending, but now I do.
Here's the problem. Like Kubrick, the greatest of all time, they never ended a movie like, where a guy walks off in the sunset and it's the guy and the girl fall in love and kiss. Right? The movies that stick with you the most, and that's what's with that, like that Black Mirror. You ever watch that crazy Black Mirror shit or any of that stuff? Like there's some stuff out, like Twilight Zone.
Black Mirror's a series, right?
Yeah, it's like a Twilight Zone.
I've seen some of those. Yeah,
it's Twilight Zone.
With the robotic dogs.
Yes, and you remember that scary. That's what you remember. You don't remember the end of.
Well, but I don't mind a good happy ending. I don't mind it at all.
No.
I'm not. I don't think it has.
Yeah, but you
to
don't
be.
remember it enough. It doesn't pull. It doesn't pull you down.
Well, you're going to prove your point right now because I can't think of one good ending that I like. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Oh no, that they get killed.
No. Yeah, but I bet you remember the ending of 2001. How trippy.
Never saw that movie.
Never.
Never seen it.
Ooh, Kubrick time.
Yeah.
Maybe. Hey. Okay.
How about Eyes Wide Shut? Talking about Kubrick.
Oh, dude, we'll go there. But I know you're super duper busy because you got to play all these gigs and you got to go to do a bunch of stuff. So.
Grab me another Coke.
Yeah.
Garçon, more Coke.
More Coke. More Coke. More Coke. Speaking of, all right, so where did I leave off? Oh, you left off with Stanley Kubrick.
Kubrick, Eyes Wide Shut.
Oh, my God.
Wow. That's
great. A great movie.
Remember when Tom Cruise is walking through the aisles of his house, and and he's wondering what's going on, and you hear just the piano going. Just two keys.
That's it.
Like, in different amounts, and it's just.
It's so intense. Even I'm intense right now. Like literally, like you just doing that.
He's just walking through, and the mask is on the pillow, which means she knows or somebody knows where he was. It's like, so great. I'll tell you an ending I hate.
Yeah.
No Country for Old Men.
No, you didn't like that?
Somebody explain to me what. Thank you, sir. Tell me what happened. The guy gets in a car wreck.
Yeah.
He buys a shirt from a local kid.
Yeah.
And he walks off. Is there any resolution? Does he get caught? Does he get brought to justice? Yeah. Does he get the money? Does he not get the money? He's gone. That one, I was throwing tomatoes at my own TV.
You were mad.
I'm like, I want an ending. I deserve an ending. I paid my money.
Yeah.
I want an ending.
Yeah, and that's the Coen brothers, right?
Coen brothers, yeah.
Yeah, they always get good endings.
They're great.
Lebowski's got a great ending. Yeah. Fargo's got a great ending. They all got great endings. Oh, wow. They've dropped the ball on that one, huh?
I think. Look at it again.
You know what? You're right. The more I think about it,
what happened?
I wasn't satisfied with that ending.
Correct.
Miller's Crossing, though. Now that was an ending.
I don't remember the end of that.
That was the gangster, and you remember that it was a gangster movie. So
I knew there's a great nude scene in that. And he gets out of jail and they pick him up in the car, and a girl's in the back.
Oh my God!
Like the VHS days, just pause that.
I love it. Yeah, dude. So I've been watching a lot of damn TV, but one thing I've been doing, I've been watching like less movies. I've been watching more documentaries. Okay, have you been into documentaries?
I love documentaries. I haven't seen many lately, but I will because I love them.
A good friend of mine showed me this thing about the Wrecking Crew. Have you heard about the Wrecking Crew? Okay, please. Anybody out there, if you haven't had a chance, YouTube Wrecking Crew, right? Do you know? Can you please educate?
It's the L.A. crew of musicians that laid down the background music
for everything.
For so many hits that you know.
Everything.
Like everybody.
Like, give me some Beach Boys. You got any Beach Boys in you?
I don't know any Beach. Oh,
do you got any Beach Boys for me?
So
the Wrecking Crew, the Beach Boys didn't even play their own instruments. They did not. We know the Monkees,
on the albums. You mean
on the albums? We know the Monkees didn't. The Beach Boys didn't play any of their own instruments on the album. It was all Wrecking Crew. You can give me some Monkees too if you want. Beach Boys are tough though.
Yeah, like. There's a place where I can go till my secrets too in my room. Let's see. In my room, yeah, so many great things that I think maybe Brian Wilson played the bass on some of those.
Maybe,
but he would have been with the Wrecking Crew that did it.
No, I mean it was Mamas and Papas.
Like
it was everybody. Elvis played with them. It was everybody. Everybody,
and it's like the Muscle Shoals. Did you see the Muscle Shoals thing?
No, what's that?
Okay, so that's the studio down in Muscle Shoals, Alabama.
Okay, Alabama.
And that was the same situation. They had a group of about 5 or 6 musicians who played bass, drum, guitar, piano, electric piano, and I think they did horns and for all these soul records. So Stax and Motown kind of stuff. Aretha Franklin recorded down there. And lo and behold, who is one of the session guitar players that played in there?
Yeah.
Dwayne Allman.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
Wow. Yeah,
cool.
He was cutting his teeth there before the Allmans started. He was playing blues guitar. And you got all this soul, black music coming out of there. And the Muscle Shoals crew was almost all white kids with like dorky glasses and stuff. And they're playing these beautiful soul things and just simple bass lines and stuff. And Aretha's singing like, I think Baby I Love You was tracked there. Baby I love you, baby, baby I love you. Yeah. It's like that one that goes on. You're no good down. You're a liar and you're a thief. That one, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how ever what you do, what you done to me. Kill me once, baby. Don't you never, never stay with through. 'Cause I ain't never loved a man the way that I love you. Yes, I do. So it's Aretha, like a hard soul, and these basically look like white college kids playing behind. Who would have known?
Really? Yeah. No, I did not know.
Just go show.
And they did a bunch of that.
Tons and tons and tons.
Tons, like just being back. Wow.
Like if you listen to on like an Allman Brother compilation, or an Aretha one, you'll hear her version of The Weight. I pulled in another. They cut that down to Muscle Shoals after everyone knew.
But that's the band, isn't it? Isn't the band?
Well, they did that. They wrote and played that. And
okay.
But they did a cover of it with Dwayne and a bunch of whoever and Aretha singing it, and they did it down to Muscle Shoals after they were all famous.
Oh, no shit.
So they went back like 5 years after, not like 25 years after, like 5 years after, like Aretha's big, Dwayne's got his band that's doing okay called the Allman Brothers.
Yeah, the Allman Brothers.
They go back in, and he's like, I want to be killing it, and you can hear that's that. So that was the Wrecking Crew of the South. Yeah.
Wow. All right, I gotta look that up. Is there a documentary on those guys too?
Yep.
Is there?
Muscle Shoals. I don't know if it's called Muscle Shoals. Might be called something else, but if you Google that, you'll find it.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So there's another crazy documentary. It's on HBO. It's called The Defiant Ones. Have you heard about this?
I've heard that title, but I don't know what it is.
It's about Dr. Dre and this guy named Jimmy Iovine.
Huh.
So Jimmy Iovine was a producer that produced everybody. Like he literally he was the first producer with John Lennon, and then he went on and did Bruce Springsteen, and then he went on and he did U2, and then he found Dr. Dre, and Dr. Dre found Eminem. So Jimmy Iovine is, if you get a chance out there, anybody, if you want to look up Jimmy Iovine, this dude, everything that you know, like No Doubt, Gaga. Like, this guy's part of Gaga. And he was the genius that sold Beats to Apple and made $3.2 billion.
With a B?
With the Beats. Remember the Beats headphones? Remember the Beats headphones?
Well, I know Dr. Dre was a billionaire the minute that went.
Dr. Dre was his partner. Jimmy Iovine. If you guys ever get a chance to watch this or learn about Jimmy Iovine, he was such a genius that created so much amazing. He was just a producer that sat in a studio all day long trying to get these artists to do their thing.
Which is the thing. If you're doing the thing, and this is cliche because it's true, if you're doing the thing that you love, you never work a day in your life.
Never.
So if you're screwing around in the studio and you love to do that, you're going to geek out. And as Hunter S. Thompson said, when the going gets weird, the weird turn pro. Because they're already got all their chops lined up, right?
That's a great quote.
Yeah, I love that one.
Quote. That's
like the kid who's sitting in his room right now, just running scales.
Yeah.
Someone else is figuring out how to talk to girls and how to get their social life together. And this kid's going, and then the going gets weird, and a band comes around and need a guitar player. He goes pro because his skill set is way developed. I love that.
Dude, I love it. All right, so let's take Wayback Machine. Okay, first Wayback Machine. Okay, first let's talk about Walter Payne's Roundhouse. Okay, so I booked you guys I booked Bellotto there.
Wow.
God.
Outdoor show.
And
Those were great.
Remember how awesome that was in the circle?
In
that was
in
amazing?
the gazebo, we called it, yeah.
But I would hang out with, now I would hang out with the guy that helped me do my sound. Please help me out. He was a huge Paul McCartney fan. He was a guitar player for you guys, and his son used to do the sound for you.
For us?
Yeah, guitar player for you guys. His son used to do sound for you guys, and he played with you guys a lot forever. George, right? George?
Bob George.
Bob George, yeah.
He was a McCartney fan? He
Huge.
liked Paul McCartney. I don't think he was like...
me and him had a long talk about him.
Oh, okay.
Me and him, he's a smart dude. Very smart dude.
Very smart dude.
So he would tell me stories, like, because I didn't know this, because I wasn't hanging out and watching you guys, because I was probably in high school. But you guys used to really do, like huge shows. Like, what's the biggest crowd you guys ever played in front of?
In Bob's era, it would have been 8,500 people at the end of Navy Pier in that big ballroom.
No way.
Yeah, there was a beer fest, and there was like 7 bands, and we were the last band. And at the time, I'm not going to say who it was, but there was a DJ who was from a prominent radio station who didn't like us because he only liked bands that only did their originals and stared at their shoes and all that stuff, right? And we had 3 albums out at the time, but we also did covers and didn't really care. We didn't keep score. So he comes up, and at the second to last band gets done, and he goes, "Thank you, and good night, everyone." Like, try to just close the door on it, and we walk out, and everyone's still there, and we just raged in that room, and we won him over. After that, he's like, "You guys are a real band." I
Really?
Yeah. So that was 8,500 people in that back.
Wow.
And I think in the modern era of us, it's probably 5,000 because at the Grateful Dead shows at Wrigley, we were the outside band 2 days in a row. And
how much
that
fun was
entire
that? How much fun was that?
Oh, it was so great. And that had to be 5,000 right there. You know, Street Fest, you're in front of a couple thousand people. It's enough.
Yeah.
Enough to have fun.
Oh, the Dead. God,
I know.
I love the Dead. Isn't it crazy that John Mayer is literally touring with what's left of the Dead? John Mayer's just out there doing it right now.
It's one of those, if you would have predicted that.
No way.
If I hired a psychic and they said John Mayer will be the guitar player in the Remnant of the Dead for years and years and years, I would say, I want my money back for the session. That's obviously you're gonna screw loose.
Yeah, you're right. I know.
He took his time getting into there because he started, like, I remember seeing an interview with him in Rolling Stone about how he was excited to get into the band and trim some of these jams from 12 minutes down to like 4 or 5. I'm like, who do you think you are? He was so cocky. But then he kind of got it.
Well, if there's anybody that can be cocky, it's definitely him. He's
got chops.
He's
got chops, and
ridiculous.
he's able to do it. You know, he still, to me, the thing that where he loses me is on the spooky jams.
Meaning?
Instead of like Loose Lucy is a mighty light. Round on and we ball all night. Round and round and round. Now he can rock on that all day long. Or where would it be? E, right? He can rock on that all night. But if you get to Birdsong.
Oh.
I want to hear. Spooky, you know.
Yeah.
That's what you know. And the lights are blue, and you're like. That's what I mean. That's where Jerry just dug all the way in for me.
That's where Jerry was your thing.
That was the thing.
That's
he was pulling the puppet things, and I was just there. And Mayer doesn't do that for me. He doesn't ruin the show for me at all. He's great. He's a great guitar player. And truth be told, to step into somebody's shoes who's that famous with that much of a style is a damn near impossible thing to ask anyone to do. And he's done it as well as I could have possibly imagined.
Okay.
So all good things to John Mayer. But to me, that when I miss Jerry is in that, or feel like a stranger, or something that's really not technically the hardest thing to do. It's emotionally the hardest place to get to as a guitar player, where you're in pure melody land.
Right.
You know?
Right.
The melodies, you can almost see them stringing together like a sweater, that threads entwining, like Dixieland we were talking about earlier.
Right.
Everybody's playing a thing, like Branford Marsalis sat in with the Dead, and one of his jazz cats asked him afterwards, he goes, "What was it like playing with those guys?" He's like, "It's unbelievable. Everybody's playing lead all the time, all at once."
Really?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, because Phil Lesh would be boom, 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 da. Sounds like a bass solo. It's not like it's not. It's
right.
It's crazy
Right.
melodically, and Bob Weir is beautiful. So he's playing kind of lead stuff. The keyboards, and then guitars, And he's playing all these.
Well, the Dead was weird for me because the Dead. I grew up listening to the Dead. My brother was a huge Dead fan, and I grew up listening to him from his influences. Actually, he was influenced from me, Zeppelin and everything. He's like 6 years older than me. So, but like one thing that was weird about Dead, like they would do like Sugar Magnolia and Uncle John's Band, and then they would do something like Shakedown Street, and you're like, where the F did that come from, right? Like Shakedown Street is like, that's not. How is that Dead? It's like crazy, awesome, crazy.
Well, here's
disco.
what I think happened. Let me say this real quick before this goes away.
Okay.
Walter says, I feel that, Paul, Eyes of the World along Shakedown have been spooked. And I can't read the rest of it, but yeah, those songs for sure.
Yeah. And if anybody wants to do his Facebook page and talk to him, he's reading his Facebook.
Hop on, man. We'll react.
If you guys want him to sing a song, please, set him up. He's got his Facebook out there or his whatever interweb thing he's got.
I don't mind. I might say no.
Yeah, he might.
Shakedown to me is 77, right?
Right.
The disco scare was happening to America.
So they just went disco.
So the Dead, if nothing else, the Grateful Dead will try anything. Try anything once, twice if we like it. That's their motto. Like they're not going to be like, disco, no, that's like lame. Like they'll be like, hey, disco's music. Let's try a beat. And they probably went, and they went, right?
Yeah.
So it's just a disco beat, and they're like, it worked.
Dude, it's my favorite song of this.
It's fantastic.
It's like when I go to Dead, that's where I go. That's where I go for Dead.
Yeah, that's
and it was just unique for me because like growing up with them. And then also there's another crazy thing the Dead did also for those people that are young out there, all your Andrew, young person, the Dead went up to Canada and did an entire train show where they just did a bunch of free live shows. Right.
That's a documentary you want to check out, kids.
There you go.
Festival Express.
There you go.
Festival Express.
There you go.
A promoter took the band, Buddy Guy, Janis Joplin, the Grateful Dead, and 5 or 6 other bands, and they started on the East Coast in Canada. And they took that train across the top of the U.S. in Canada, stopping at like 4 or 5 stadiums along the way and put on these all-day festivals in like 1970.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And the bands partied the whole time in the cars and commingled and cross-pollinated, and they had, a blues car and a jazz car and this and that. And it's fantastic. And there's a scene where the Dead are like Rick Danko is in the car, Jerry and Weir and Janis, and they're all sitting in this car, or they're getting blasted, and they're drinking, and they're singing old folk songs, and you are there. It's one of the best minutes of the film, and it's so great. And that's what the song Might As Well is written about.
What do you mean?
Might As Well by the Dead?
Yeah, explain.
So it's like, Great North Special, were you on board? Can't find a ride like that no more. The night that the chariot swung down low, 99 children had a chance to go. One long party from start to end. Anyway, I can't remember the words unless I have to.
Yeah, right.
But if you follow those lyrics, it's talking about being on that train, whop on the boxcar, ring on the bell, ain't nothing shaking, just might as well. Ragtime nonstop for 25 miles, switch on over to the Cajun style. They're talking about all that. And then the last verse is like, ran out of track, had to take the plane, found myself in the country again, with the blues again. Lately, no special been on my mind. Might like to ride it just one more time, might as well. So that's definitely them documenting what it was like to be on that train. If you listen to that lyric with that in mind, everything will make sense.
They're so smart. Like I love musicians that can just be in a moment and they can just write a song. They always talk about Paul McCartney can write a song in 5 minutes. Right. Like some of those guys are just so crazy, so smart. And it takes you guys a year. I mean, sorry, too soon. Too soon.
It takes PBJ a year.
It takes PBJ a year. Too soon.
Actually, no. We sat in Jeff Kitzel's basement. He's got a studio set up.
Right.
We did 3 rehearsals and wrote the 6 songs for our album.
Really?
It came out really fast.
So, but is Bobby producing it? Did Bobby mix it?
He ended up mixing it. There's a guy out there at the studio that engineered it.
Okay.
And got the mixes close. And then Bobby's a perfectionist, and he sat and worked with every little thing and was the patience of Job. But here's one that was written in 10 minutes. Graham Nash was at his pot dealer's house in Hawaii in like 72. And
I like the story already.
He actually didn't know the guy. His friend knew him. And he said, "Can I bring him over? He wants to buy some weed." He said, "Okay." So he comes over, and the guy's like, "So you're some kind of rock star, huh?" And Nash is like, "Yeah, whatever, man." You know, he's like humble cat.
Right.
He says, "I bet you can't write me a song in 5 minutes." And Nash is like, grabs a paper bag from like the grocery store and a pencil, and he writes. He goes, "Guess what song he wrote?"
I won't hear it.
He wants to write a song in 15 minutes. Just a song before I go, to whom it may concern. Traveling twice the speed of sound, it's easy to get burned. I mean, there it is.
So beautiful.
Just a song before I go, to whom it may concern. I mean, 4 chords and the truth, and he wrote a song.
Dude.
Right there. And that was the biggest hit that CSN ever had.
Really?
Numbers-wise, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Charting the highest.
Yeah. So, okay. So there's something crazy, and I want to give you the introspect on it so you can see.
By the way.
Yeah.
So that pot dealer,
Yeah.
the rest of his life is going, that song was, everyone's like, yeah, whatever, dude. I'm sure Nash came over to your house and wrote
Go
that
smoke
on your...
another joint. Yeah, go smoke another joint, pot dealer.
Okay, dude.
That's hilarious.
That's his punishment for challenging him like that. It's like no one will believe it.
So there's a legendary story about a 5-minute song that's amazing. So and did you see the movie Yesterday, the Beatles movie with
No.
did you see that yet?
That appealed to me for about the first third of the promo of it that I saw there, and then I was like,
you know what?
I love the concept of the movie.
Yeah. It's one of those things like you gotta like it, and of course it's full of Beatles songs, so it's great.
Right.
But they do a thing in it where oh my God. They do a thing in it where one of our artists right now that's super awesome right now. Who's the redhead guy with the glasses that makes all the music with everybody right now?
Sheeran?
Yeah, Ed Sheeran. Ed Sheeran's in that movie, okay? He plays a very important character in that movie, okay? And spoiler alert, Ed Sheeran's in it. Anyway, they do a thing. So you heard the old thing where Paul McCartney and Robert De Niro and Al Pacino were hanging out in a hotel. Did you ever hear that story? It's
De Niro, Pacino, and who?
And Paul McCartney.
No,
they're all drinking. Okay, so the legend is this: they're all drinking, and they're all like, blah 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 blah. Okay, Mr. McCartney, you're so good. Go write a song. And supposedly he went out, and 5 minutes later he wrote I think he wrote like what's that song where like open the door, like somebody's ringing, open the door.
Someone knocking on the door. Somebody ringing the bell. Who's knocking at the door? Somebody ringing the bell.
So one of those songs. I don't quote me on this. Don't quote me on this.
Open the door, let him in. Yeah.
Ah, so beautiful. Paul, so beautiful. So, but they did it. They paid tribute to that, where Ed Sheeran says that exact same challenge, and Ed Sheeran writes a song in like 5 minutes, and it's in the movie, and it's beautiful. You got like for that alone, you got to watch it. Like I suggest you.
So
watch
they
it.
actually challenged him.
They challenged. No, so here's what he did. They challenged. Okay, so
wow.
I don't want to give you the spoiler alert because I don't want to ruin the entire movie for you. But the guy doesn't know. They don't. Anyway, the point is that Ed Sheeran challenges him, and of course the guy plays a Paul McCartney song and he wins, so it's kind of cool. But I think he plays like Yesterday or something like that. But like he does that, he does that. He writes a song in 5 minutes, and it's very cool. It's a good idea.
It just shows that in that realm of writing music, it's not all about perspiration. It's a lot about inspiration.
Correct.
So somebody could labor over it, like remember Amadeus? And he's got the gift like no one's ever had.
Great
and then
movie.
there's Salieri who's sitting there. And he's like, I've done everything you've asked. He's talking to God. I studied. I learned the ways of this, and I have these simple melodies that people are going to forget. And then you gifted someone the biggest musical gift that the world's ever known. And look at the vessel it's in. It's in this punk kid who's crass and grotesque and self-centered and what. And he drives him to just be, to kill Mozart.
Right.
But here's what I say to students today. I don't have very many students, but I pick and choose some that I think really are going to do well. I think musical talent, any talent, but let's say musical talent right now, is like a gold brick buried in your backyard. And if you don't go digging for it, you won't find it. So somewhere is a guy working a regular job that has a voice like Robert Plant and just never had the balls to go up and try it, right? Or the curiosity. You have to go digging for it. And when you go digging for it, it may be a foot down, it may be 6 feet down, but it also might be the size of a golf ball. It might be the size of an Olympic swimming pool.
Right.
You don't know until you go into your backyard and start digging around a little, play a little music, try writing a song. Because I always encourage people, try writing a song. If you're learning how to paint, something like that, okay, try painting something that doesn't exist. Don't paint a banana.
Right.
Paint what a banana makes you think. Paint something like that. I mean, you do need craft. You do have to be able to paint a banana if that's what's called for.
Right.
But I would say it's like that. If you don't dig for it, you don't know how deep it is. Because some people have to dig really hard, and they finally get down to it, and they get it. And by the time they get down to that, since they were so tenacious in finding it, they've developed phenomenal craft, right?
Right.
Some people dig 1 inch below, and they're like, wow, I'm really good. And they get it. And so they're inspirational players, and they don't have a whole lot of craft because they didn't need it to get there.
Right.
And some people, it's the size of a horseshoe.
So, like,
some people,
Prince didn't have to dig at all. Like Prince.
We don't know. We don't know.
Maybe?
We know that his buried gold was the size of a swimming pool.
Yeah.
But he might have had to dig down because he definitely had some craft. But, it's hard to assign which of those would be the artists we know. I'm just saying.
Right.
That's a general concept that I think about.
I like that. That's pretty cool. Like deep. Yeah. That's interesting. You got to dig.
Yeah.
I like that.
Salieri had to dig.
Had to dig
deep.
Yeah.
And he had this much gold.
Right.
And Mozart stumbled upon a blade of grass and showed a swimming pool-sized piece of gold. And Salieri is so bitter by that. He's like, this is not fair. And God, of course, would say, ask Job about fair.
Right.
You don't get to decide what's fair. I decide what's going on. And let's see how you react to it and make me proud.
God, is that funny and true.
Son, more Coke.
Carson, more Coke. Yeah, no, Mozart was a freak. I think Mozart was such a freak. I think it's Mozart. It might have been Beethoven or Bach or one of the geniuses, but I'm pretty sure it's Mozart. Where I guess there was like a battle off, like a rap off, but like an orchestra off.
Oh,
Do you
I know
what I'm
what
talking about. And he took the other guy's music, right? Right? Tell him.
I don't know. You got it.
Okay. So the guy
took the guy's themes.
No, he took his music and put it upside down, and he played it backwards.
Oh, there's that, or in the movie Amadeus.
Okay.
He's under the piano reaching up.
Oh,
and he's playing a Salieri composition.
Yes, maybe it's both. Maybe it's
that's
both.
in the movie for sure. But there's also another one.
Right.
Schubert was the guy who wrote Ave Maria.
Oh, I love that
Beautiful.
song.
What's going on underneath
crazy.
that is like,
Get that now.
He wrote a bunch of other stuff too, but he wrote that one, and he was challenged by someone else who was in their scene then, whose names musical scholars would know as Salieri, kind of second card guys, that we wouldn't know.
Okay.
Like we know the bigs.
Right. The big names.
And they were somehow challenged to each other to an improvisational battle. And the one guy went, and then Schubert went after him and incorporated some of the stuff he did and expanded on it in a much more meaningful way than the guy did.
Really?
And was clearly the winner then. You know?
Cool.
Because if you go, da, 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 and he goes, da, 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 you'd be like, oh, he just did more with that piece of clay than you just did, and you came up with that piece of clay. So that's what I thought you were talking about. But yeah.
No, but that's beautiful.
Just goes to show, if modern musicians stand toe-to-toe and try to be the best guy, like, battle of the bands and stuff,
Okay.
that shit was going on 800 years ago, too. The minute one cave in went, ooh, 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 and a little reed, the other guy went, ooh, 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 ooh. I can do it faster than that guy. I'm better. And then the other guy put a third hole and it went, ooh, 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 ooh. It's like, genius.
Yeah, but the worst was the king. If you were that good, the king would give you 150 people to play your music with. Like he would just like, okay, Mozart, here's 150 people, now go.
Right.
That shit don't happen today. That don't happen anymore today.
Yeah, but you know what? Think about this. Here's a thought for you. Back in the day, the king of France,
right?
He wants to hear Mozart's latest thing.
Right.
He has to go have Mozart travel to his town and then rehearse with his musicians for 3 weeks or whatever, and then give a performance, and then maybe give a second performance. And then he moves somewhere else and does something else. That was the king. That's as good as it got. You heard 2 performances of it after 3 weeks, and you coughed up like major dough for that, right?
Right.
Today's average American can take a CD or an MP3 or a file of the best orchestras in the world playing that Mozart piece, playing it through a speaker system which sounds almost exactly like the 150-person orchestra is in your room.
Right.
And you can play it as many times as you want. You can pause it, go to the bathroom. Like, we have so much.
Crazy.
Like, kings and queens
Crazy.
from 200 years ago would trade their monarchy
for us.
for what we have at our fingertips and take for granted.
For our iPads.
For air conditioning and fridges.
Oh, my God.
Like, you look at an apartment of somebody who's walking around right now going, can't believe I got to stay at home because of COVID. I get it. I can't believe it either. We have more available to us than the kings and queens did for millennia at their fingertips.
Right. They'd have to sit home and read books.
They had to read books. They had to travel 800 miles south in the winter because it was too damn cold in Europe.
And
turn the air on. We go,
and we love to complain, Paul.
We complain.
We
We're
love
like,
to complain. Yeah.
I wish I was a king. No, you don't.
No, you
There's
don't.
no central air.
No. It's so funny. I watched this comedian once, Paul, and he goes, you know what the crazy thing about movies that go back in the past? Nobody wants to go back in the past. Why would you want to go back in the past?
I mean, I would go back in the past for a day or two.
But
I'd like to run through Versailles and see how crazy that got.
That's cool, a day or two. But do you really want to go back to the 50s? Do you
outie.
really want to go back to the 1600s?
No.
I wouldn't mind meeting Isaac Newton. I really wouldn't mind shaking his hand and talking to Isaac Newton. That's a guy I wouldn't mind talking to.
Okay, here's a great one.
Okay.
You go back in time. You pick 4 people. You pick Isaac Newton, Plato,
Yes.
or Socrates,
Okay.
Jesus, and Kublai Khan.
Okay.
You get them all at dinner.
Okay.
Nobody speaks the same language. Way to waste your wishes, bro. You say to Kublai Khan, pass the salt. He's like, ah!
And the worst, I'd give him the coronavirus too. So then I'd kill.
Right.
I'd kill
half the people you know don't exist.
Because I just ruined
Back to the
calculus.
Future.
I just ruined calculus because I gave Isaac Newton.
Isaac Newton did not invent calculus.
We don't know where the sun's at really.
Think how smart that guy was. He invented calculus to prove an idea he had.
God, he figured out how the planets revolve around the sun
just by watching them like loop back. You're like, wait, that guy's not going where all the rest of them are. That one's going like this and back. I know it is. And I'm going to send that out to Dave G because he's one of our friends and he's a flat earther.
Shout out Dave G.
He's a flat earther.
He's a flat earther?
Flat earther
Ooh,
for sure.
Dave G, let's talk.
No.
Come on.
I warn you, don't go down the rabbit hole of Dave G because he has an answer for everything. And God bless you, Dave G.
Hey, Dave G, I'm just going to say, do you know sine and cosine? You ever heard of that before?
He knows,
calculus?
He knows that stuff.
He knows that stuff?
That's trig, by the way.
That's trig. Oh, that is trig. I'm sorry. That is trig. You're right.
But I have a sophomore in high school. I know trig.
Trig is part of calculus, right?
Yeah.
So, but anyway, curvatures, check your math. Do your math, sir. Do your math. No, I think it's hilarious. No,
Yeah, Newton doesn't invent calculus.
Because I give him, because I want to bring him to dinner with Gandhi.
We're 400 years behind right now if he doesn't invent calculus.
Right? We're screwed. It's like, yeah, just because I wanted to go back in time and meet somebody.
Right. Because I'm self-centered.
Yeah, and
gazillionaire.
Right.
Decides to go back and screw up everything.
Right, just screw it up.
Way to go.
I'm an asshole.
Imagine the statues of you that would be around. Like, here's his ass in the air. You can throw things at the bronze ass. Every city would have one.
I would be. Yeah, that's my destiny. No, I like selling beer.
Wait,
I like my life.
Maybe you did that and you brought back Corona.
I'm the jerk. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I took it from the past. Yeah. So I just, like I said, I've been watching a lot of cool documentaries. I've been watching a lot of stuff about music because music is just something that's been saving me through this craziness.
A lot of people.
And there's been a lot of awesome podcasts. I believe you still do one. When do you do yours?
We live stream Tuesdays at 8.
Okay.
Or 8:30.
Okay, Tuesdays at 8.
And we've been doing it since we can't get together in the same room.
Right.
Because 2 of us have had it and 2 of us hadn't.
Okay.
We're doing live shows from the vault. So, like, some of our tapers have video from years and years ago. And then we have captured DVDs that we've sold that not everyone has. So we ran one of those last night. It was really fun.
Cool.
And we covered Terrapin, the whole album.
What'd you do?
At Blotopia, when we used to do the Blotopia.
Give me a tune. Give me something.
Terrapin?
Yeah, give me something.
You got a half hour?
No, but just give me a break. Let me hear. I want to hear.
Letting my inspiration flow, token rhymes, suggesting rhythm that will not forsake me till my tale is total done. Yeah,
dude,
pretty
awesomeness, awesomeness.
So we've been running that. We ran that last night. We're running stuff that some of it's DVD, some of it's commando, down and dirty, but like fun. And it's fun to see people's faces in the audience. Like last night was from 2006-ish.
Okay.
And I see some of the people that are still with us, and they're 14 years younger. And it's like, oh, and people are on the comment thing like, oh, look at you. And like, it's fun to see, because some people have been with us decades now.
Yeah. You got a huge fan base. You got a huge fan base.
A lot of them. For us, it never ended, obviously, because we never took a break. We never took more than a weekend a year off. Until the last maybe 4 or 5 years, we take maybe 2.
Really?
So it's never stopped for us. So there's whole waves of faces that I remember. There are faces I remember.
Oh, give me Beatles
all
always.
My life. There's faces I remember from wave after wave, from 90 and then 95 and then 2000, 2005. And some of them last the whole time. You know who you are. Kelly Casey.
Shout out.
A lot of them last, but some of them, they were in their 20s, as we were in the 90s, and they got married, and they had kids, and then they couldn't come to shows anymore for a while, and then they're gone for 15 years, and then they come back.
Right.
It's like, wow, they're going to remember me? And a lot of times I'm like, I totally remember you. I don't remember your name because I don't remember names at all.
Right.
Joe, how it goes. But I see them, I'm like, I do know you. I remember you from this era. And they're like, okay, good. Because they were there for 100 shows.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Back in the day.
I'm still impressed that you guys would only take 2 weeks off a year.
It was 1 week forever and ever. We took like spring break.
So you just grinded
150 shows a year for 30 years.
All right, so let's reminisce then. Let's go back to Walter Payne's Roundhouse. Okay, I'll never forget this. All right, let's go back to Walter Payne's Roundhouse.
This conversation meanders.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So let's go back. So everybody knows that Walter Payne's Roundhouse, for the people that aren't out there anymore, Walter Payne's Roundhouse is now Two Brothers, okay? And shout out to Two Brothers. They give me great beer. They've been always awesome. In fact, Two Brothers were really, really nice. I'll tell you a cool story about Two Brothers. The guy came in here, and he gave a tour of the brewery to all my employees, which was really cool because the understanding of how to make beer is really badass. It's really cool to learn.
Science.
Yeah. It's an awesome.
It's a craft,
science.
And it's like music. There's craft and there's inspiration.
You can mess up a beer really easy, or you can make it beautiful by just one note or whatever, right? Yep. So these guys used to come out, and it was insane, dude. We used to have 9 security guards. 9 security guards. You guys we do $10 the door, I think, back then.
Yeah.
And I don't want to talk out of school, obviously, but there was a gigantic stack of money that you guys did very, very well, and the security guards.
We like to say it was a stack of 20s that would choke a horse. That's how we know it was a good night.
It was a great. I mean, you would pack it, and here's the deal: I think we would do almost 4,500 Bud Lights. Like, I'm not kidding you. We tear through the Bud Lights.
I just remember being in that gazebo and looking at that half circle in front of us.
You get 1,200 people in there.
Slammed.
Yeah, 1,200. You get 1,300 people in there. Yeah. It was crazy.
And your ribs.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, you guys would feed us. You think my brother comes here early?
Good food.
I'd be there real early. I get that rib.
Good food.
Oh, sit by the fire outside.
Yeah. It was fun, dude. It was a great place. It was a great place. The owner, unfortunately, was a bad person. Unfortunately,
yeah, that happens.
And that happens. But the nice thing is that it's still alive, and Two Brothers took it over, and they're doing some really cool stuff. Have you guys jammed there lately, or not really?
We haven't. I don't know what the hang-up was. We didn't get too far into it. It kind of slipped past me, but I should really call them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I love to play. Do they still do outdoor things in the gazebo?
No, they don't do as much in the gazebo. They keep
do
it
that
all
big
inside
room
the
with the high ceiling.
Yeah, we used to call it the American room. That's
we played
what
in there.
We
played in there. That's good. They got a balcony in there.
Yeah,
right?
It's got a balcony.
It's easy load in.
Easy 300 people, easy fit in there, no problem.
And it's easy load in, right?
Easy
like
load
the
in
curb
right
is
there.
bang.
Well, that's the thing. It was an old train station, so it's wide open.
Yeah.
You know, that's the cool thing about it.
Yeah.
So that was a time. I worked there for 2 years. I booked you guys a bunch. That was super fun. I booked a lot of great bands there, and that connection helped me with this place. It really did. Yeah, it really did.
It's funny when you look back at your path.
Oh, dude. Well, the craziest thing is
led to what.
Right. The craziest thing is that, so I booked you like 13 years ago. Would meet your brother and him, and then Georgie.
Bob George,
yeah. And that was back in the day when he was still in your band or helping out with sound and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
But then the crazy thing is that now, fast forward 4 or 5 years in the future, I know Bobby. Bobby knows you. And then we start playing PBJ here.
You know Bobby
Scamacci.
Yeah.
I know Bobby Scamacci through my friends. Right.
Right. Okay.
So like we came back.
Is that how we came? Okay. That's how we came
so
together.
I know through my connections, actually through my cousin Adam Gardner, who's a great bass player. I don't know if you know Adam Gardner. He's a great bass player.
I don't.
He's great, an awesome dude. And he knows Bobby, and he introduced me to Bobby. And then Bobby came in here, loved the joint, and he's like, "Hey, blah 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 blah." And then that's why. Blah.
Right, and Bob George's, I think, had something to do with putting the sound in there,
He
right?
did. Him and
Anthony Massaro?
Anthony
Massaro.
Dude, Anthony.
Where's my camera?
Anthony, I need you to do some R. Kelly for me. Anthony, where you at?
Anthony Massaro is a special kind of whack-ass genius, too. I got to tell you.
Beyond crazy.
He has a way of thinking about music that I have never heard, and he started to explain
Agreed.
it in a lesson online about a month ago. And I was watching it and trying what he was doing, and it was too much. It was too fast. It was like water coming out of a fire hose. I could only get so much, you know what I mean? But for musicians, he thinks about it this way. All 12 notes that are available to a lead player are available to you if you just play the 1-3-5 of the 1-4-5.
Oh.
It's crazy. So 1-3-5 is
do it for me.
Right? 1-3-5, 1-3-5. And here's the 1, here's the 4, here's the 5. So name a note, and he'll be like, well, that's the 3 of the 4, which would be right there. And I'm sure I'm saying it wrong, and Anthony's probably screaming at his throat like, that's not what I'm saying!
We got to get Anthony out
Stop
of here.
him!
I should talk to Anthony. That's what we should bring on this
let's fly
stage.
him
We
in,
should get
man.
Anthony in here. That'd be great.
He could be 6 feet from us there, 6 feet from us there.
He would probably play the drums.
But he plays with PBJ from time to time. If we're missing somebody, and then we get to call like
He's still filling in?
Yeah, well, sometimes.
All right, good.
So sometimes if one of us is missing, like Johnny V can't make it, or I can't make it,
Right.
or Scotch can't make it, then we get to call our really interesting friends and go, hey, you want to sit in with PBJ? And Anthony will be like, yeah, I'll do it. I'm like, oh, this will be great.
Like I said, I've never seen anybody just control a stage like he does and go from like, a petty song and kill it and then do, like I said, R. Kelly or something.
Right.
So whack.
Well, that's his ear. He's got great ears. And he and Skamash got into, we did a Phil Collins. I can't play it. It's like, you say I love you, when I say I care. I had to make up the words.
Yeah, right.
I don't want to be sitting here trying to believe me. You know I know, baby. I don't want to go. And it comes to that. Throwing it all the way. Throwing it all the way. And in that progression. He and Skamash got into some chord substitutions because you can substitute chords if you know what you're doing, like that 1-3-5 stuff.
I don't.
I barely do.
Okay.
And they know more than I do. And they were doing some sub in there that sounded gospel-y. And I was just like, the thing that I get with Jeff when I look at him like, oh, isn't this great groove-wise?
Right.
We all got that thing like, oh my God, who knew that corner of this, that corner existed in this song?
Yeah.
Because the song is just kind of a square pop tune, you know what I mean?
Right.
There's nothing heavy about it, and then they retrofitted it with this thing, and they just kept leaning on this certain note. I just kept waiting for it to come around. It was so cool.
They just jam together so well.
It's great. I mean, they both have huge ears. Nice fruit flies, by the way, bro.
Don't get me started on fruit flies. So everybody, just so you know, the biggest enemy of any bar owner / bartender is fruit flies. And the problem is that we've been closed so long, and we have a bottle that was left open, and now my battle is with fruit flies. I hate life.
So Dave Allen just weighed in. Shocking. Paul Bolger's making up words.
Oh no, he's Dave.
Yeah.
Is he the flat earther?
No, Dave Allen, our keyboard player.
Oh, okay. I want the flat earther. I want the flat earther.
He's another crazy ear that can hear anything and pull it out of the air and play it. But I take heat from friends and people that know me well enough to jag me a little for making up words. If I don't know the line, if it escapes me,
right,
I'll just say gibberish that has the same phonetic makeup,
right,
and it slides past, and people are doing that, and I do it all the time, but I have to say, in my own defense,
right,
I don't use a teleprompter. I never do. I never use notes. I hate when I see somebody singing something that's like a meaningful tune and they're reading it like you. How can you mean the word when you don't know what the word is until you read it? Like, I don't like that. God bless everyone. Do what you got to do, but I don't do that. I'd rather get the words wrong,
right?
But close my eyes and emote it and get it out. And you said how many songs? 2,000 songs. Yeah. Maybe I do. I know 95% of the correct words to 2,000 songs.
Right. But here's the deal. My greatest guy, the guy I built his bar under, Eddie Vedder. Eddie Vedder has admitted a million times that he's hummed through his own lyrics. Like he just get a couple bottles of wine on stage, and he'll forget his own lyrics.
You can lose your chords.
You can just
lose your
hum
lyrics.
through it,
it's
and you get through it.
Yeah.
You know, like.
And Dylan's another one. When you're covering Dylan, when I should say for me, when I'm covering Dylan, so many times I'll have the words that I've sung to a Dylan song for years, and then I'll hear him doing it again, perchance, on the radio or something like that, and I will have gotten 10 or 15% of the words of a verse wrong, but I got the meaning right.
Right. That's the secret.
I didn't change it from black to white. I changed it from black to penguin black. Something, I got the idea right. I said fat instead of stout or something like that.
Right.
And
that just goes to show how crazy your brain is.
Well, I get the concept. You know what I mean? Like I
Right.
see the movie sometimes.
Right.
Like if you have a linear narrative, like Peggy-O,
Right.
one of those, that's a movie to me. I'll never forget those lyrics because I watch, Peggy-O's there, and then she's got this suitor, and then he doesn't have enough money to win her, and she says, "My mama won't like you because you don't have enough money." He says, "Well, we'll see about your mom when I come back with an army."
Right.
And then there's a solo, and he goes, "Now she's stepping down the stairs, she's saying goodbye," and he's saying goodbye, and then he's dead, and now she's sad. I should have gone with this guy, and he's dead in Louisiana country. So that's a movie. I close my eyes a lot when I sing, and it puts me into these picture things. Sometimes there's not a linear narrative at all, and you've got word salad, and those are the harder ones to memorize. And Dylan does that a lot too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like his verses could be in different order. You could take this verse and put it here. In some of them.
That's so interesting because you're right. When it's a story, like when I think of the Beatles do, the Black High Mountain, South Dakota, live a young boy named Rocket Raccoon.
Oh, yeah. Linear
it's
narrative.
a story. Like
Yeah,
I know
it's a
every lyrics
movie.
in that song because it's a story.
Right. You're just not going to
Lauren
walk in and fall
off
down
with
dead.
Another guy.
Right. He's not going to
It's-
walk in and fall down dead
Right.
to the drunk doctor until he goes to the saloon.
Correct. It's a
it has
story.
to happen in order.
So that's why I know that lyric so much better than I know some like David Bowie crap, right? Because like it's all over the place.
And if it's not like China Cat Sunflower. Okay. For the Dead. Do you know that one?
No.
Okay, so you're not a Deadhead. But
Not a huge one, no.
so Robert Hunter, who was a lyricist, he was one of the two lyricists for the Dead, but he wrote the lion's share of it. He was playing around with haikus. Oh no, that was a different one. But he was playing around with some sort of poetry, and Garcia grabbed this and that and this and that and this and that. And the lyrics are, "Look for a while at the China Cat Sunflower, proud walking jingle in the midnight sun." Means nothing, but it sounds so good together. And a lot of that beat poetry, Allen Ginsberg and these guys were doing word salad things that just sound great. I mean, it means something. You picture a cat, a China cat, sunflower, proud walking jingle. That means the little necklace around the cat, and he's walking proud.
Yeah.
So it kind of fills in little gaps. Proud walking jingle in the midnight sun, copper domed Bodie drift. I have to play it like. At the China Cat Sunflower, proud walking jingle in the midnight sun. Copper dome Bodie, strip of silver, come on out to a crazy quilt star gown in a dream night wind. The words just sound really nice.
Beautiful. That's cool. Shit.
They don't
cool.
mean much,
Right.
but they're wide open to interpretation.
But they're
whatever you
beautiful.
feel when you're hearing it is what it means.
Right.
But those are harder ones to memorize at first.
Yeah, that's interesting. I never really thought about that. The ones that tell a story that are so obvious, we remember those lyrics so much more than we remember.
So much easier, yeah.
That is interesting.
Yeah, when we got to write with John Barlow.
Okay,
who
tell
was
me the story.
John Barlow wrote the lyrics for the Bob Weir songs in the Grateful Dead.
Really?
And we got to meet him. He actually saw Mark Haig's side project one night and was knocked out. And then Haig said, "You should come and see my original band tomorrow." We were playing at Joe's on Weed the next day, and he came out and he loved us and he met us, and we couldn't believe we met him. Maybe he's one of our heroes, So then he flew in a couple months later, and we wrote 6 or 7 songs in a couple days together in our warehouse. And he was a lyricist for it. And I told him that I have an easier time memorizing the exact lyrics of Robert Hunter, the guy who wrote the Garcia stuff.
Okay.
And I said, I don't know why, but I think it's because I'm talking to Barlow now, you're very specific on the words you use. There's never a generality or seldom a generality to it. For example, he'd be like, morning comes She follows the path to the river shore. Lightly sung, her song is the lock on the morning's door. See the sun sparkle in the reeds, silver beads pass to the sea. And then I started saying, it's like he's looking at water reflecting sunlight, silver beads pass to the sea on this one. It's like, if you get one of those things wrong, the whole thing goes, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's hard to cheat on that and get the approximation of what he's saying with other words because his words are so specific. He said, I never thought about that. Of course you didn't. Why would you?
Why would you? Yeah. Well, you can't. Oh, man. Well, like you said, some songs you can fake through, and some songs you can't. Right.
That one is an absolute. You got to have everything.
All right. So here we go. So I got another question for you. All right. So with the exception of obviously playing at Evenflow and Blob and how awesome this place is, where is like one of your favorite places to jam? Like, was it Navy Pier? Was it opening up for the Dead? Was it like Chicago, or where were you?
It depends on what we're talking about. You know, there's qualitative, there's quantitative. You know,
correct.
The end of Navy Pier, that was a thrill to play to 8,000 people. The Grateful Dead one was really great because the amount of people there and how like-minded everyone was, and the fact that we were the choice of band because you can't put a Grateful Dead band out there playing Dead songs that they might play that night.
Right.
So we had to be the good mix of a band who thinks like the Dead, which is what we always said. We don't want to break our backs trying to go for the exact sound and cadence of the Dead. We want to be the band that thinks like the Dead. So you take a cover and you twist it and make it your own like they do. You know what I mean? Don't necessarily take their version of Ico and play it every night because they took Ico and they twisted it into their own little thing. I'd rather take a different song, twist it our way, and do it that. Even though we've done Ico, obviously, a lot.
Right.
So that's a rewarding gig to have a lot of people there and to be able to play your original music mostly to people who would enjoy that template and how to approach music. That was very cool. I mean, our festivals are my favorite. When we used to do Blotopia. It was a 2-night camp.
Blotopia. Oh, for those who don't know about Blotopia, I do know about Blotopia.
Those were fun.
Those are good times.
But we don't do that anymore, and we do Blotumnal, which is in the fall.
Okay.
So that's an outdoor one.
And
much
you
like
still do your
Blotopia.
Christmas show, right?
We still do Christmas show at Cubby Bear. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know, man. It's not the vessel. It's like the Pope talking about the house of God.
Right.
Like, it's not the building. It's what's going on.
Right.
So when the crowd is there and you're feeling it and they're feeling it, you're feeding off each other, I can have as high of a moment right here on this stage as I have many times as I could at the Vic Theater or at a huge. It
that's
doesn't
poetic,
matter.
and I love him. Thank you for that.
It doesn't matter. And some huge player, I forget who it was talking about the fact that these guys that play huge stadiums at some point of their life gravitate towards 2,500 seaters, 15 to 2,500 seaters, the Vic or the Riv, or smaller, because there's enough people there for them to make their money, make it worth their while, and pay their overhead and all that stuff. But it's small enough for them to feel the connection with everybody, right? If you play Soldier Field, what a thrill that would be. But the front row is 80 feet from you. You know what I mean?
Right.
The closest person.
Right.
You know, or
so you're
50
kind of
feet.
isolated.
Yeah, you're going to get faces, and what a thrill that would be, right? But there's a reason that David Byrne could fill Rosemont Horizon for a show. The Talking Heads are so popular, right?
Right.
Now more than they were in the 70s.
Yeah.
In the 80s.
Yeah.
Because now everyone just acknowledges that they're one of the great bands. He could do that. He plays theater shows because there's that connection. And somebody was really big talking about if you move one person, if there's one person listening to your music, like if you sell one CD, as an extreme example, and that CD is important to that person and they connect with that music, and that's what they put on when they're cleaning their house and they want the energy, or that's what they put on when they're driving, and it's part of the soundtrack of that. Like we all have albums that are that to us. If that album is that to them, that's success. The rest of it is just quantitative, right? I sold 1 million albums. I sold 2 million albums. I sold 1,000 albums. I sold 10 albums. I sold 1 album. If you sell one to a person that it means a lot to them and touches them, this person was saying, that's as successful as music can be. The rest of it is the music business. I'm like, wow.
That is intense.
And this is somebody, I forget who it was, but it was somebody, it wasn't like McCartney's size, but it was more like John Hyatt or somebody like mid-level national,
right.
you know.
You know, it's kind of funny because I was like, once again, I'm doing my documentary shit, right? And you just said something that's very unique too, because Dave Chappelle said the exact same thing. Dave Chappelle played places that are like the size of, you know, football stadiums, right?
Right.
He likes the small clubs.
For sure. Comedians even more.
Right.
Right? Because they got to hear
the laugh, right?
everybody laughing and getting it.
But you could do too. As a musician, you want to hear them too, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But comedians especially. Like Steve Martin, when he was like a wild and crazy guy with the earth through his head, and he was playing like the Chicago Stadium.
He's the jerk.
Yeah. He, you know, he couldn't do a subtle joke in that entire hour and a half. He couldn't. He had to do something like, and I said, what? And then, you know, so he goes, he couldn't say something subtle like Dave Chappelle. He'll sit there, his specials, oh my God.
Did you see that shit?
That one, and I don't miss one by him, and I don't miss one by Louis C.K., and I don't miss one by Chris Rock.
Did you see the documentary? Did you see the documentary of him getting the award of the Mark Twain Award yet? The Dave Chappelle Mark Twain Award?
I don't know if I don't think I saw all of it.
Tonight.
Yeah, okay.
Tonight.
Yeah,
those
are always
just tonight. Just tonight. Just do it. I'm not telling you. I'm not
I'm
gonna spoil
in.
it tonight.
I'm in.
If you love Chappelle, watch him get the
Chappelle.
Mark Twain Award. And the Mark Twain Award's kind of a badass award, so he deserves it. Just watch it. Done. You're gonna pee yourself laughing. I'm not kidding you.
You know who said the funniest thing I ever heard at one of those was Carol Burnett. She's getting hers. She's already an old lady. She's 85 or something like that. But she's still vibrant. And she comes out. She gets the award. And she goes, "Wow, this award is really encouraging."
Is that what she said? It's 85.
It's 85. Like I think I'm going to go into comedy.
Yeah, I'm going to get into
This award is really encouraging. I'm like, oh my God, is that rich?
That's good. Well, Carol Burnett was my mom's favorite. She loved her.
Holding your ear.
All right, so do you got one more good I
got one
PBJ songy, or what do you guys want to do?
I can do that.
How we doing, camera guys? Do we got enough film? Are we doing all right?
Film. That's how old you are. Just so you young kids, I don't know what he's talking about, this film.
We're doing some sort of film by this. Have you guys heard about this Facebook? I guess they videotape stuff on it. Something like that. I don't know.
It'll never take off.
I don't know.
That's a stupid idea.
I still like books.
I could do a PBJ one.
Yeah, give me the PBJ one.
One morning you hear me walk out your door. I'm away out of town, I won't be back no more. And you left the blues in your sister, and it will not go away. When you get the blues in the sister, and it just won't go away. One of the things I will not miss is the way you turn your cheek to my kiss. It put the blues in my sister, and it still is that day. You put the blues in my sister, and it's all day, every day. But it's 6 of one, half dozen of another. That's the way I see it in the end. 6 of one, half dozen of another, mother. That's the way I see it in the end. One of the things I miss the most is how you steal my coffee and steal my toast. It's the little things that I'm missing, things that happened every day. Now we got the blues blues, little sister, and it's way too late to play. But I said 6 of one, half dozen of another. That's the way I see it in the end. 6 of one, half dozen of another. My mother, that's the way I see it. That's the way I see it. That's the way I see it in the end.
Dude, I'm looking forward to this. You guys record this album.
So it's done. It's done and mixed. It's in my house.
Dude, that gave me, like, you know the poo-poo face? Like when Clapton goes off and does a thing and you get that, like, you gave me a little poo-poo face. You gave me a little, like, I was like, ugh. That was so good. That was so good. Dude, that is awesome.
Thank you.
Well, crap. I mean, shit. I mean, what do we want to do? Do we want to jam one more, or what do we got over there, guys? How we doing? We're good? Want to jam one more?
I'll do a blotto tune we wrote.
Dude, let's do a blotto tune. Let's do a blotto. How long have we been, just out of curiosity, I have no phone, I don't know anything, I'm disconnected. How long have we been doing this for? Are we boring people out there? Do you still got people out there watching us?
We got 70 people, or it's been 70 minutes.
Okay,
I can't tell with the technology.
Tell the difference. I don't know either. At this time,
let me end with our Irish tune.
What do you got? Oh, about 100 people? Oh, I love you guys. I love you guys. 100 people. Love you guys. Whoever out there, shout out to all you guys.
They're all 6 feet from each other.
Yeah, they're all 6 feet from each other.
I should end the lyrics to that song. I should change it. 6 feet away from each other.
Well, it's also.
So I want to end with the Blotto song, "Love's Just the Time." It's our song that's written like an Irish style.
Okay.
And since we're Irish and we've been there and we've heard our cousins talk that way, and we like to play a little bit for you.
To the Chief. Are we doing this to the Chief?
We'll do this with Chief. Yeah, he wrote. Chief wrote this.
Chief wrote this? To the Chief.
To the Chief. Actually, I got to tell you, Chief and I, argue about lyrics all the time when we're writing.
Really?
And in this song, yeah, because it's important. And
sure.
In this one, the chorus is.
And you guys are brothers, so you got to fight.
Right, So it was like, love's just the time before everyone lies, right? And it was like, she became angry when I was too honest, right? And I said, it should be, she became angry when I became honest. So that's poetically cool to say the repeater.
Yeah.
She became angry when I became honest. He goes, yeah, but it doesn't work because the guy's honest in this whole thing. So he didn't become honest. He was too honest. I'm like, okay, there's a subtle distinction, but it sticks.
Dude,
so,
I could just see your brother saying that, dude.
Oh, yeah. I met me a woman, she came without warning. She left in the morning, not leaving a trace. She became angry when I was too honest. Now when I'm downtown, I still look for her face. She said she'd grown tired, waiting on footsteps. Footsteps, she said, she knew never arrive. She laughed and she cried and she called herself lucky, 'cause love's just the time before everyone lies. While working downtown, only once have I seen her. I followed her home without catching her eye. Name on the mailbox was Lois McNally. I left her a note, but I got no reply. And she said she'd grown tired of waiting on footsteps. Footsteps, she said, she knew they'll never arrive. Laughed and cried and she called herself lucky, 'cause love's just the time before everyone lies. And who is this man that she pines her nights for? He is a wolf who has slept at her door. Who is the one she loves better than me? Who is this Lois McNally? Oh, Cher was the name that she gave when she gave it to me. On gray, cloudy days now, she still thinks of Ireland and all of the reasons she couldn't stay. She thinks of her home there, she thinks of her love, thinks of the soldiers that took him away. She said she'd grown tired of the waiting on footsteps, footsteps she said she knew will never arrive. She laughed and she cried and she called herself lucky, 'cause love's just the time before everyone lies. Love's just the time before everyone lies. Love's just the time before everyone lies. And I can see everything over the valley and under the setting sun streaming in gold. And I play my guitar to the tune of a lady whose story ain't never been told. Thanks very much.
That was awesome. Oh, dude, this is Paul. Love you, man. Thank you so
too,
much,
bro.
dude.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
All right, so listen, everybody that's still out there, or you want to hear this again, my guys, Maddie and Andrew, are going to kind of edit this stuff, this shit, whatever, and they're going to put it on YouTube. So this is going to be a YouTube channel. We're going to make a YouTube channel. And I think Maddie, Andrew, everybody that hung out with us, and I really, really appreciate you, Paul. Thank you for playing on my stage. Thank you for coming out tonight. Thank you for rocking us, and your music is awesome, and just thank you for being awesome.
Thanks for having a great venue. Let's get an elbow bump here.
Elbow bump, elbow bump, elbow bump. We got it. There it is. Elbow bump.
Stay safe, everybody.
Stay
please.
safe. Be healthy. Peace
Wait it out. Wait it out.
Wait it out. Be
It'll all be
safe.
okay.
Be safe to each other.